It's Wednesday. Welcome to our Wednesday Wellness Tip. Today we're back to a spiritual tip. And this one might be a little heavy, but just bear with me because if everyone could get this, wow, we could shift the world. So today's tip is from Dr. David Hawkins, who wrote the book Power versus Force. And in the book, Dr. Hawkins listed levels of consciousness. So here are several levels of consciousness, all the way from a low vibration, starting at 20, which of course shame and guilt are at the bottom, progressing upward as we raise our vibration, all the way to the top, which is 700 to 1,000, that is enlightenment. So what's interesting is collectively as a society, we're just barely at 200. 200 is considered courage, which is still under neutrality. So collectively as a society, we have a ways to go. So hopefully today's message can help each of us to elevate our vibration, elevate our level of consciousness, so that we can change the world. So I'm going to give you an example right out of his book in which he takes a situation, describes it, and then we look at it from different levels of consciousness. So in his book he describes, imagine a bum on the street. So imagine an older man in tattered clothing, and he's leaning against an elegant brownstone in an upscale neighborhood. So if we look at him from different levels of consciousness, here's what we may surmise. If we look at him from shame, we may think he's dirty, disgusting. If we look at him from 30, which is the level of guilt, we may think, oh, he deserves what he gets. He's probably just a drunk. If we look at him from the level of 50, which is hopeless, we may just think of him as disparate, that isn't it a shame that society can't do anything, it's just hopeless. If we look at him from a level of 75, which is grief, we may think of him as tragic or forlorn. As we look at him from a level of 100, which is fear, we may even think he's threatening. And we may even think someone should call the police. What if he turns violent? If we look at him from a level of 125, which is desire, we may just think he represents a problem and we should do something about it. At a level of 150 is anger. We may be furious that the condition exists. If we look at him from a level of 175, which is pride, we may just look at him as an embarrassment. He lacks self-respect. At 200, which is the level of courage, we may think maybe we should take him to a homeless shelter. Maybe we should talk to him. At the level of 250, neutrality, we may think, he's interesting. He's not bothering anything. Just live and let live. As we raise the consciousness to 310, willingness, we may think, let's talk to him. Let's see if we can cheer him up. Do something for him. If we look at him from a higher level of consciousness, 350, acceptance, we may even think he may have an interesting story to tell. And as we look at him from 400, reason, we may just imagine that he's just a symptom of a social malaise. And as higher levels, 500 is love, 540 is joy. We may even think that he's interesting, friendly, lovable. And finally, at a level of 600, which is peace, we may look at him and just think that he reveals our own inner self in a temporary expression. Because, you know, as humanity, we are all connected. So just imagine if we could raise our level of consciousness, because you realize when you hear this example, so much of our level of consciousness is tied into our perception, or the opposite, our perception is tied into our level of consciousness. So if we raise our consciousness, we could literally change our perception. And wouldn't the world be a better place if we could look at things with the vibration and the consciousness of love, joy, and peace? So that's my wish for you this week. Love, joy, and peace.